Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have the review of the newly released Robot Damashii Heavy Gundam Ver anime. Now, for those who don't know, Heavy Gundam is also one of my personal favorite variants out there regarding the RX-78. So the moment I saw this get announced / released, I had to get it right away. Now, for the record, I would like to say that I pre-ordered this and this has arrived last night, so keep that in mind. And for those who are still confused or still don't know what is what, this is actually, some people thought this was a Premium Bandai figure, but that's not the case. This is actually a regular release product. For those who still don't believe me by saying this, is that look at the number here. It has the R and the number. Any Premium Bandai figure would have the term SP here, and there wouldn't be a number here as far as I know. So this is a regular release product. So for those who like this figure, you have a chance of getting it instead of just not getting it and complaining. Okay, so let's get on to the point. So first of all, I would like to mention that this figure actually, like the full armor Gundam, can actually take off its armor to reveal a more RX-78-ish design on the inside. But because of that aspect, this review will be a 2 to 3 part review, because this thing also has a lot of weapons and equipment, but some equipments are mostly more meant for the RX-78 design, while some equipment are meant for the Heavy Gundam design. So keep that in mind. Alright, so before we go on to the articulation or any comparisons, let's talk about the components. So first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the Heavy Gundam itself. I definitely love the looks and the color. Well, I think I would have preferred the Master Grade, the Premium Bandai Master Grade version, which is more of a brown color, but the figure comes in a more blackish color, like the way how we see kind of more of the second unit color, kind of like how the Origins were, but not dark or black entirely. You get my idea. Hand-wise, we're using the multi-purpose hand that comes with the figure right away, and then here we have the other equipment for now. So since we mentioned hands, let's talk about hands. So other than the typical multi-purpose hands, let's look at the rest of the hands. So obviously, including the ones that is on the figure, we get 5 hands in total, or 5 sets. Here we have okay, so here we have another multi-purpose hand, but this is actually, to be more specific, this is meant for the beam saber hands, to hold it in a more angle. And next we have a trigger finger for left and right, and then we have 2 different types of open hands for posing. And typically we usually get the this part, which can store in all the hands, so that's wonderful. So some parts I'm going to be pretty much skipping because they're very typical. This is a typical bazooka connector for the back skirt armor. The way how this works is that you get a bazooka, you clip this on like this, and then attach this part to the back skirt armor. So we've seen these multiple times, so I don't think it's really necessary. This part is actually another bazooka connector, but if you want to have it on the shield, this is what you use. You attach this part to the shield, and then you can attach the bazooka right over here. I'll show this demonstration later. And for those, and if you want to actually use the shield, you have to actually replace one of the arm guards with this, because this one actually has a peg. And yes, this shield, like the HD Gundam Origins version, it can also fold up like that. And has been done really nice, very flat design and efficient looking. And then we get another unique beam rifle. As far as I know, this is supposed to be a beam rifle, but with a more round mag or energy pack in here. Very odd and interesting looking. And we have this part that can move around as well. So once again, very unique weapon at this point. But for those who know the Heavy Gundam, the real winner weapon is this. Now, as far I know, there's like multiple names for this, but on the wiki it's called the Frame Launcher. I've also seen people say the Flame Launcher, but I can't really confirm which is more correct. But we've seen this before in my old previous HG from the Premium Bandai version of the HG Origins Heavy Gundam. That was also pretty nice, but yeah. It's pretty simple, but now the winner part here is that back in the HG version, you had to actually take off this part to attach to the arm. Now you can just flip this open and just connect it to the arms. Much more easier to do. There's these parts that move around. The top section, this is normal. The lower section, it looks like it can go. It looks like it's supposed to go up a little bit more, but that's not the case. So don't force it. And here we have the front part, which we have the 4 missiles that are actually color separated, because you can actually take them out if you want to do so. And then we have a nice Gatling gun on the bottom. So this is actually a very efficient weapon, if you ask me, or a very good weapon for supporting. And other than that, for Robot Damashii, the good part is that they also give you effect parts. So So we're going to skip what's the typical one. So here we have a bent beam saber, nothing too special, we've seen these before. Here we have a straight beam saber, once again, nothing too special. And then here we have this one, what has the fat lower end here. This is actually for the effect part for the beam cannon that's on the back, right over here. Yes, despite how the design looks like, and the one that the Heavy Gundam uses is not actually a physical ammo, this is actually a beam cannon, which is why they provide this part as well for that effect. So I'll be demonstrating that later as well. And then here we have more, once again, very typical, but once again, unexpected. We have these 3 thruster parts. But I believe 2 of them, I think they're all the same size. Yeah, they're all even, they're on the even same size, so no need to worry about them being different sized. Because I believe there are longer ones or shorter ones as well, so keep that in mind. And here we have these parts, which I am a very big fan of. Number 1, here we have the Gatling Gun Effect part. So I'll be demonstrating this later, but basically you attach it like this and you have the Gatling Gun firing effect. Oop, oh, my bad. And you can see there's 2 more effect parts right over here. These are the missile fire effect parts for this part. The way how this works is that you have to, of course, take this red part off and then attach these 2 right over here to make them look like they're firing. Once again, these are very fun effect parts. So once again, I'll be demonstrating that later. But for now, let's get on to the review / articulation. So I believe since we're right over here, I think it would be much better to compare the 2 for now. Now, I believe since one is a figure and one is a HGUC kit, I don't think it's, not HGUC, I mean the HG Origins kit, I don't think it's really necessary to compare them in terms of articulation, since they are also pretty different looking. So as you can see, for the Origins version, they pretty much went with the full dark black color. You can see their concept designs are kind of similar. They're like the same basis, but kind of taken differently. Of course, the HG Origins versions, this is a premium Bandai by the way, does not have any cast-off features there, so you can't like take off everything to reveal another RX-78, because this is all it is. You can't take off the armor, so that's how it is, of course. So yeah, of course, the flame launcher, I think they're pretty much like, they're okay, but they're more of a detail difference, so nothing too big about that. So you can see, obviously, one of the big differences is the head part. So the head part, while the original version actually has a more big visor type eye, instead of like having a typical Gundam head with a typical Gundam eye and having a red visor in front. So they actually did take some different steps regarding the head design as well. Other than that, they have the same basic features. They have the handguard, of course, different color. The leg armor seems to be the same, but of course this figure might, the Robot Damashii version is much more bulkier because of the fact that they actually implemented the armor, taking off feature. Because if you don't believe me, you can actually take off the shoulder armor to reveal a more RX-78-ish shoulder armor. Okay, so let's get on to the articulation for now. So once again, looking at the head, now the yellow visor / eye is not a clear piece, that's actually colored on. I believe this is a regular thing for Robot Damashii figures, especially for anime. Very well done. The head articulation can go down that much, up a lot as far as I know. Yup. And the 360 twist should be possible as well. Of course, I don't think there's no reason for a robot to go 360 in most cases, I believe, because that's why we have a back head camera, of course. Since we're on the back, this is the backpack. So we have a moving thruster on the middle. The side ones do move a little bit, but not as much as the middle one. There's one right over here, but I don't think you'll be touching it that often. And here we have the beam saber as well. It's pretty much attached. And of course, what I do like about this is that there's no actual peg system right over here. It's just like you just plug it in. Because I was always, I believe I always felt uncomfortable with beam sabers that had peg systems inside, because there's a chance that you can easily break those pegs. And I'm really glad they stopped doing that with this one. And here we have the beam cannon. The cannon can go down that much, so 90 degrees to the front, and then 90 degrees to the top side as well. So exactly 90-degree bend, and you cannot move it to the side, so don't even force it. Okay, now let's look at the arms. The arms are pretty okay. Pretty much, if you have any Gundam RX-78 for anime figures, you do have a general idea how they work. So It can go to the side 90 degrees or slightly more. We have a nice shoulder movement forward and backward, but of course this is kind of hindered by the armors that are in the process. So I'll show you guys later in maybe part 2 or 3. And then we have a nice bend going on here, but of course because of the bulky design, we only have a one type of bend, so like less than 90 degree bend. I mean not less than, but we have a more than 90 degree bend, but not exactly a double joint. Technically, I believe that is a double joint. It's just the fact that the armor is actually blocking the way. So I just want to be more specific about that. And for this red arm guard, we can take it apart if you want to do so, or if you still want to have it, you can still twist the lower arm 360, which is very interesting. Something that I was not expecting as well. And then here we have the hands. They're typical Robot Damashii ball jointed hands, where the ball joint is on the arm. Now here we have the body. Body can go surprisingly 360, which I was not expecting, but of course this is kind of me forcing it, so don't force it, because as you just saw, the armor piece for the crotch piece was about to fall off. We have a kind of a ab crunch going on here. There's no separate extra armor on the front skirt, back skirt, or side skirt as far as I can tell. The side skirt does not move as much as I thought. Back skirt does not move at all, so keep that in mind. And then speaking of back skirts, we can reveal this section up to reveal the peg to put in the bazooka holder if you want to do so. So here we have the legs. We have a nice side swivel going on here, and then we have a nice more than 90 degree up kick. Back section not so much, and then we can go less than 90 degrees to the side because the side skirt is kind of blocking the way as well. And we have a nice never mind. We have a nice double jointed bend on the legs, and you can see the armor separation over there. And typical ball jointed feet with some toe bend as well. So pretty much articulation wise, it's pretty much what you expect from a Robot Damashii figure. It has all the basics, pretty good articulation, just kind of on the bulky side due to the armor. Okay, so we've seen the basic articulation, so I'll be right back with the demonstration regarding the equipment. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Here we have the first set of equipment. I kind of did attach a lot of stuff on here, so I'll have to go one by one. So currently I'm using an action base, nothing too special. And on the feet I gave it a thruster effect power for one each on the side. And then on the back I gave it one thruster part, so it looks like it's floating at least. And then on the flame launcher, instead of the Gatling Gun Effect part I attached the missile launcher effect parts, and they look absolutely amazing. I don't know why, but I just happen to like these kind of effect parts. I remember I really enjoyed the bazooka firing effect part for the prototype Gundam as well. And on the shield, I did attach the shield with the shield connector on the arm, and then on the, you know what, I think I should take this off. So, and then on the arm itself, or not exactly on the arm, but the shield, I attached the bazooka as well. I don't think it should be able to fire at this point, but still, it's a really nice, interesting way to see how they store the bazooka. I mean, we've seen multiple ways how they store bazookas. We've seen them, store them on the back. We've seen them store them on the back skirt. Now we have them on the shield now. So I say this is a pretty interesting, way of doing things. So yeah, and I would like to mention that the way, a little bit of warning, if you do buy this, you need to pay attention to the manual. Yes, they actually do give you a manual for the figure. The way how you're supposed to attach these two effect parts is that you have to take off the red missile launcher part that's inside, and then you have to plug them in a very specific angle, so keep that in mind. So do pay attention to the manual when if you're going to attach these parts as well. Okay, so regarding the flame launcher, it attached pretty easily. So unlike the HD version where you have to take off this, you can just open this section up and then just plug the arm in. Also, it is a little bit heavy, but luckily, thanks to the connection where there's actually a clipping mechanism on the arm. There's actually a part where the arm clips on here, so you really don't need to worry about it just falling off right away. So it's a pretty good connection. Of course, the downside is that if you want to attach the launcher, you need to take this part off, which for the HD version, it wasn't that you needed to do that. So that's one downside, but still, I say this is also good enough. Okay, so I'll be right back with the second set of equipment. Okay, here we have the last set of equipment for the Heavy Gundam for now. So here we have the Gatling Gun Effect part, the firing effect part, and then the firing effect part for the beam cannon that's on the back. So they pretty much plug in pretty well. They're pretty much a perfect fit. And as mentioned, you can actually fold the shield if you want to do so. But if you want to use the shield, you have to use the separate shield connector for the arm. So yeah, if there's one downside thing regarding at this point would be the gun being a little bit too heavy. So sometimes you will get that feeling where the arm will fall down eventually as time passes. So just be careful regarding that. Alright, so yeah. That was pretty much it for the review for the Heavy Gundam Part 1. So in Part 2, I'll be showing you guys how the armor detaches as well. So keep that in mind. So once again, I'll be right back with Part 2. So please stay tuned.